Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us, smoke it if you've got it. And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
The name's Chancellor, Ashley Chancellor.
The name's Gio, Zachary Gio.
And this is Collateral Gaming.
Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from the United States, Texas, and Georgia. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So, whatever you have, be it crystal meth or fentanyl, I'm just kidding, don't do that. Smoke it if you've got it. We're talking about a banger of a game today, brother. And also, it's good to be back. I love coming back on the show, and this is going to be a really good time because we've got a hell of a game to talk about today.
Yes,
this
sir.
is a banger from my childhood and one that Ash has enjoyed recently. But before we get into the topic of what we're talking about today, I kind of wanted to talk about some heavy hitters that are coming on. Dude, we're getting a new Zelda game in 2 weeks.
Dude, I know.
That's crazy. I mean, they literally announced it out of nowhere. It's The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, and it's the first time in the history of the series, besides the Zelda CDI games, but we don't talk about those, that we get to play as Princess Zelda. And it's really exciting because you get to use echoes that she finds around the world of Hyrule to essentially complete her tasks and ultimately save her father, the King of Hyrule, and Link. Well, I don't know if he's her father in this game. More than likely is. We don't know anything yet except for what they've given us in the trailers. But it comes out on September 26th, and brother, I could not be more excited.
Dude. A new fucking Zelda game.
It's crazy.
We're definitely going to be covering it as a game launch review. Oh,
yeah.
We also had the Call of Duty open beta this month.
Oh, dude. Yes, we did.
That was a fun time. Or you were on the early access beta.
Yeah, I made the great choice of spending $100 on the Vault Edition like a good little Activision slut, and I got to play the beta a week early before everybody else. And there were a lot of bugs and issues and stuff like there usually are with beta versions of games, but all in all, I'm a big Activision fan and I like Call of Duty a lot. But there were a lot of really, really good things about this Call of Duty that we just simply haven't gotten in the last decade. And it actually feels like Treyarch put some love and affection into the game. And
yeah,
Call of Duty has felt rushed for so long, and it just felt like so much fun was going to happen this year. And I can't wait for October 25th. Ash, we got some good games in there, too.
Yeah, we did. No, we got a few good clips out of our gameplay together. Man, yeah, I'm very impressed with Black Ops 6 so far. Playing the open beta, the whole new movement system. I just feel like I can't go back to a first-person shooter without it.
Oh, dude, Omni movement's crazy. Being able to literally sprint forwards, backwards, side to side. You can dive while shooting. You can dive while spinning like a crackhead, and honestly, just the ability to sprint, dive, and slide in any direction is really a game changer. And I tried to go back to Modern Warfare 3 after they closed the beta. Dude, the game felt like ass.
Same.
I mean, it already felt like ass, but I mean,
it just feels like sluggish and just not as advanced. It's kind of like when I was really getting into playing Modern Warfare 3, and then I tried other shooters, and they just didn't feel the same. That's as big of a leap as Black Ops 6 feels for me as well.
Yeah, and they're doing something interesting with Black Ops 6. They have actually scrapped the whole idea of significantly larger maps, and they've gone to more small and medium maps.
Good.
Which the smaller maps, they're called, well, it's good and bad to an extent. The smaller maps they're calling strike maps, which are maps that can be either 6v6 or 2v2. And we got to experience 2 of those maps during the beta, which was Gala and Pit, I believe. And then I think we got one more strike map, which was, I forget the name of it, but it was like a balcony or like a top floor of an apartment complex. If you remember, that's the one that you and I kind of dusted those kids like 6-0. It was a great time.
Yeah, when we were doing Gunfight.
Yeah, Gunfight. Gunfight's back. That's a great time.
Yeah.
But it needs a little bit of weapon balancing and spawn tuning. But other than that, we're in for a great year of COD. And this is the first game that I've played with Call of Duty in probably 6 or 7 years where I'm like, damn, I'm going to have 20 to 30 days played on this game. And, you know, it's funny. My wife is okay with it. So we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it a little bit. So, but I'm pumped.
Brother, I'm excited to come down and hang out with you and experience that lunch together at the end of next month.
We actually bought the plane ticket for you today. So that's going to be super exciting. And we get to start a file together on Echoes of Wisdom and kind of go through that. You get to actually hang out and spend time with my wife because you didn't really get to at the wedding. You just hung out with the boys.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And this has been a great season of Collateral Gaming. Since this is our season finale, I wanted to take a moment at least to talk about that. I mean, what do you think, Zach?
I haven't been around for much of it other than the game year in review episode. I've been busy kind of dealing with the first year of marriage and just enjoying, everything that has to...
Before that, we did the Spider-Man games together.
That is true. That was a while back now. Good Lord.
Yeah, that was
time just flies. But from what I've heard, because I've listened to a lot of the episodes, it's been a really, really strong year for Collateral Gaming, and I'm excited for what next season has to offer. Because you and I think just this upcoming week, you and I are going to pump out like a standard episode and a couple of bonus rounds. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
And we're going to record a couple episodes while you're down here in October. So I'm really, really looking forward to all of that.
Hell yeah, brother. It's been a great season. I mean, we started out with a redux on both Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. We covered the game launch of Spider-Man 2. We did the Zelda Oracle games. With Megan, we did The Witcher 3 and Fable 1 and 2 for our anniversary special.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
We had guests on this last season. My buddy Sam was on our Persona 3 Reload episode. He's one of my friends from work. And he recently came down with me to San Antonio, and we hung out, so that was cool. And we did that episode together. What else? Andrew Roscoe joined us for the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth game launch episode. God, I was so ready for that game. That was a ton of fun.
I still haven't played a Final Fantasy game, dude. I need to, but I still have just never played Final Fantasy.
I would recommend starting with 7. Just start with the original.
The Rebirth or the original 7?
I would say start with the original and then go back and play Remake and Rebirth and then whatever the third one's going to be called.
Oh, man. Well, all right. You are a very trustworthy source when it comes to games. Also, I figured out how to get Tears of the Kingdom on my computer that I built. And, dude, it runs like butter. It runs like butter. Man. It's crazy. Even though it's still a terrible game, but that's fine.
We had a couple bad games we did for Bad Game April. That was Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and E.T. So Bo and I were riffing on those games. And we also covered the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, Bo and I, which was really cool because I just fucking love Ace Attorney. And the Great Ace Attorney is like peak Ace Attorney. Besides the trilogy.
I actually played the first game this year, and it's a really fun game. I can't wait to get into the rest of it.
Dude.
There's a lot going on, and I'm just pumped about it.
Ace Attorney is my shit. And also Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree came out. We covered that in our very first DLC review.
Yeah, I didn't get far enough into it to really be able to comfortably join you guys on that because I don't know. The DLC just felt off to me. It it didn't feel like Elden Ring the way I wanted it to. And maybe that's just me being picky. I probably just need to go back into it and try to just, pick myself up, dust myself off, and get ready to get just absolutely penetrated by From Software's bosses. So, because that's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah, no, real. But today we are here to talk about James Bond 007 Nightfire.
Oh yeah, brother. I cannot wait. This is a game that I played as a kid.
Yeah, you actually picked this game, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that, like your experience playing this growing up.
Well, so I actually picked up a copy of this game because my dad picked me up from school. I think I was in 4th grade. He picked me up from school, and we were going to go to Walmart to take care of some stuff. And we went by the GameStop that was in our town. And I noticed that they still sold GameCube games. I think the GameStop in my hometown sold GameCube games until I think I was in 7th or 8th grade, until I want to say 2011, 2010. So they sold them for a while, and honestly, I wish there was still a store in Jessup where I grew up that sells them, because I would probably still have a GameCube.
Yeah.
But I noticed, I was a huge fan of 007. I always have been. I loved GoldenEye. The movies are just fantastic. They're a lot of fun, unless it's Roger Moore, because
you don't like Roger Moore.
I hate Roger Moore, and forgive me, God, I hate Sean Connery. I hate the Connery movies. I hate them, dude. I can't stand them.
Oh, that is blasphemy.
But it's not blasphemy, it's the truth.
Or should I say blasphemy?
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
But, gosh, dude.
Morning party.
But I noticed it, and I had never heard of a movie called Nightfire. And I was like, it was on sale for $8. And I was like, hey, Dad, do you mind if I try that game? And he was like, yeah, but if you don't like it, you got to play all the way through it. And I was like, no problem. I played the first mission, and I was hooked. It's such an awesome take on... it's tied into Die Another Day, right?
Yeah.
It's basically...
Die Another Day is the film tie-in. At some point, they figured that they were better off doing James Bond games that were just their own stories rather than trying to adapt the movies. GoldenEye notwithstanding, I've heard that the more well-received James Bond games up to that point were the ones that were trying to adapt original stories. And that's what Nightfire does.
GoldenEye for Nintendo 64 is one of the best first-person shooters ever made.
Yeah.
It established a baseline level of quality for multiplayer shooters that just... really, it's been met several times, but it did such a good job of establishing that fun party-style multiplayer game, kind of like Super Smash Bros. Did, but on a more adult, more mature level, because you're killing each other, you're shooting people. But GoldenEye, as far as its story, it's the only movie that has worked as a game.
Yeah.
It's really the only one that's worked. And then you have games like Nightfire that come in and completely change the way that you interpret 007, because it's now based solely on the performance of a video game. Sure, there's cutscenes and stuff like that. Like the opening cutscene in Nightfire is you're basically trying to stop a truck from delivering a bomb that's going to destroy probably a rally in Paris. I think that's what's happening. There's like a party or a meeting or something going on. Your job is to... It feels so good, dude. No, it feels smooth. Your job is to stop it.
It feels like a James Bond movie from beginning to end.
Yes, it does.
It really does. Like when it opens up with that one, kind of unrelated adventure that introduces a key character, throughout to each location that you go through, the driving sequences, the ending when you go to fucking space. It all feels like it's right at home in a James Bond film starring Pierce Brosnan.
It really does. And for the Nintendo GameCube, he looks an awful lot like Pierce Brosnan. They did a really good job catching his likeness.
Yeah.
And for I think it was 2002 that Nightfire came out. For 2002, they nailed it. They nailed every aspect of how a 007 adventure / film is supposed to feel. And I think it's perfect. And I think that's why it's probably one of the best old school shooter type story games out there. And for the GameCube too. It's what makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
We played this through the Dolphin emulator. So we played the GameCube version. I had heard online that was the version that played the best. And I got to say, the experience was smooth. If you played this on Dolphin, you're in for a good experience. I noticed a couple graphical glitches, but nothing that actually affected the gameplay.
No,
we even played multiplayer, and that was fun.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Once you and I figured out how to get rid of the lag by turning up the buffer setting, and actually, like, I'd be 100% down to do some more stuff like that once we're finished recording here. I actually thought about maybe me and you setting up like a multiplayer 1v1 to play just while we're just shooting each other while we're playing.
I'm significantly better than the last time we played together because since we last talked, I went back and I got a gold medal in every single level. I've even gotten a platinum in one now. So on 00 agent difficulty.
Well, good. Good. That's what it takes to beat me.
But I also make liberal use of save states so that I can get just that like perfect run, because you gotta be so accurate. You gotta not take a hit unless you got armor on.
Well, shoot, dude, if you've gone back and done all that stuff, you're probably gonna wipe the floor with me. And you know what? I'm okay with it. It's fine.
We'll see. But yeah, no, this game is a blast, man. Let me tell you. So like, I didn't play this as a kid. I just played this for the first time for this podcast. And I've honestly been really vibing with it. It does feel a little bit dated by today's standards, by FPS standards, but I was surprised at the amount of weapons and gadgets and different things that you can do. The way that almost all of the I should say all the like actual like gunfight style levels, like actually like exploration type levels, all were kind of sandbox in nature, offering multiple ways, even in that very first style of level, where there's at least like 3 different ways to get into the castle, 2 of which will give you a bond move.
Yeah. Dude, the bond moves are an amazing part too, because technically you're not supposed to know about those kind of things. They're not things that you have to do in order to progress the game. But the bond moves are awesome because if you do something slick in the way that 007 would, you'll get a little extra boost of experience and points, and it makes you feel really good too. Like cutting the laser, getting into the party.
There's a replayability to every single level in that sense, because you can find out about some of these bond moves and you can approach the level in different ways. And like, I always wanted to find all the bond moves that I could, because it makes you feel like 007. You're actually doing things that only he would be clever enough to do.
Well, I mean, that's what makes a perfect Bond experience, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I have a humble opinion, but you know what, it's fine.
There's just, again, like I said, each level begs to be replayed in order to get the best score that you can on it, to find all the Bond moves. And then once you get a gold, you have to go after and get a platinum. So in addition to the Bond moves, once you've gotten a gold on the level, you'll find Bond tokens. And so you kind of just try to figure out the fastest route through a level, getting the most number of Bond moves and Bond tokens, subduing, and making the right number of enemies surrender.
Yeah.
As opposed to dispatching them. And also just, getting the handling down. The controls take a little bit of getting used to, because if you're playing with like the dual analog mode, you'll feel at home for the most part, but you'll actually have whenever you hold down the left trigger, you go into aim mode, it's kind of more like Metroid Prime or GoldenEye, where you stand still in order to free aim, and you can move left or right. But while you're free aiming, you're a little bit restricted. But it's okay, because you can move behind cover and do whatever you need to do. And so once you get the handling down and, account for the way that the game controls and handles, you can actually feel like a badass just popping off headshots and...
I mean, hey, if you can get good enough to just free aim and take out enemies in that game, you've come far enough to where you deserve the praise. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Yeah, and you really do feel like a badass as you're doing it. And just,
Yes, you do.
experimenting with the different weapons and their different firing modes. Like, hey, do I want to put a silencer on this so I can approach this more stealthily? Or, do I want to get that additional burst of fire? And, or the sniper actually has armor-piercing rounds that you can find in their reactor level. I don't know that they actually do anything, though. I think all the enemies can actually be finished off with a regular sniper bullet. I've yet to come across an enemy in that level that needed armor-piercing rounds, and I haven't come across armor-piercing rounds in any other levels, but
do you
cool
usually go
there.
for headshots and that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you're just goated then.
Maybe that's what it is I'm always just going for headshots. I'm kind of trained to. It's helped actually in playing other FPS games too. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at playing Call of Duty.
Actually, yes, significantly. Ash sent me a clip during the Black Ops 6 beta where he killed 5 people back to back with a sniper rifle, and my jaw dropped because I was like, "Damn, hell yeah, dude, let's go!" So it just made me very happy.
Yeah, man, and you don't have nice things like being able to slide or run sideways. In fact, there is no sprint button, and there is no way to slide or dive. You kind of just have to get good.
I have a question about like the characters and stuff like that. What did you think about the assortment of characters that were in the game? You've got Bond, you've got Allura McCall, Raphael Drake, fantastic villain, by the way, for a written Bond game. For one that was created specifically for a game. What did you think? Like Dominique, Zoe, Nightshade, Kiko.
I mean, the game has everything that you're looking for. It's got a Bond villain that feels like a Bond villain. He goes over the top and everything. You've got all of the Bond girls. He has to have multiple love interests. One of them dies midway through the game. One of them betrays him partway through the game.
Yep.
And the other
one... It's not a 007 movie or game if a girl doesn't betray him halfway through.
Right. So, I mean, they really nailed it. And the characters feel like Bond characters. They're not these characters that are particularly well written, and the plot isn't something that you've never heard before. It feels very at home in just your regular James Bond spy adventure. It's got that Hollywood feel to it, and depending on how you play, you could make it feel more or less like a Bond film. But going back to the characters, like you mentioned, I did feel like, again, I was watching a Pierce Brosnan movie.
Yeah, it's a really great time, and I really appreciate the amount of detail they put into every single mission too. It doesn't feel like you're just run-of-the-mill spy film too. It's got personal details that otherwise just make basic games just not worth your time. You actually feel like 007 playing this game, and it's a spectacle, to be honest, because I just driving fast cars, women,
fast
gadgets
cars,
and
fast
lasers.
We got it all.
Cars and fast women.
That's right. That's what being James Bond is about. I mean, they really establish it well. You start out with a on the rails shooting cars from helicopters to car chase sequence in the first level to a standard type of level where you have to infiltrate the castle and get out, and then you get the getaway, and there's even a scene where he gets into the formal attire in just an instant and infiltrates the party, and you can flirt with all the women there.
Yeah. And they'll all love that. They all eat that shit up too. They're like, hi.
She could be right there next to a homie and it doesn't matter. She's still gonna look at you with the fuck me eyes. And I can tell even with those polygons.
Bro. Not the polygons. I mean, that's true though. Let's be honest.
It's true. Dude, fucking Agent Nightshade walks in on you kissing Dominique and still flirts with James.
Oh, for sure. She probably wants in on the action, bro. Let's be honest.
It's like they all know. They know that they're just his next fix. and they don't seem to care.
Why would they? It's 007. He's probably going to die anyway, so like if he hurts them, then
yeah.
That's their thought process, is like, if he hurts them, then he's just dead. It's fine.
Yeah. True.
Oh man, I can't tell you how many times I've played split screen multiplayer on Nightfire with my sister. We got to the point where we were just picking each other off on spawn, and it just got to the point where we knew the game like the back of our hands. And all the maps on the multiplayer game are good too. What was the map that you and I played our first match against each other on?
It was the castle that was in the beginning of the game. I don't remember what it's called, but it is that castle from that second level of the game in the snow. We played that one, and I remember we were shooting sentinels at each other from around corners, and that was fun. And we also did the Sky Rail Station, which many consider to be the pinnacle here. Where you get to actually get up in the little rail cars and go around the map and snipe each other off. Actually, you got a pretty good setup. If you get in one of those rail cars and have a sentinel in hand, you can just crouch so that you're behind the cover of the rail car and just fire sentinels across the map. I was doing it with bots and having a blast.
Yeah, that's called head glitching, Ash, and you're a piece of shit for doing that.
That's not glitching, though.
Wait, you drinking a Pilsner? That's awesome.
It is, yeah. It's a Frio.
I was about to say, it's an American Pilsner.
American Pilsner Frio, yep.
Oh, dude.
These are cheap from H-E-B, and they are 6% alcohol, so.
H-E-B, man. H-E-B is just top tier. It's fucking great time. It is the tits. I'm still mad at you for putting American cheese on frozen burritos, though.
Really?
A little bit. Yeah, that still is a thought that I have not forgotten to this day.
I put it on my ramen too.
Ash, we're such good friends. Why must you seek to ruin that? It's like, I'll refund that plane ticket so fast.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Use the helipad and take care of the body.
But man, Nightfire, what were some of your favorite levels?
As you know, well and good. The first mission that is not like the tutorial that guides you through it, the castle level, top tier. It's really good. It's a really good introductory mission for the game. It allows you to kind of get a feel for sneaking in. Plus, it's got that snowy, wintry environment. And to be honest, it's just a really good place to start because it's not too difficult unless you're playing on, 00 Agent. It's not too difficult, and it helps you kind of get your footing for the game and how it feels. I think it's called the Exchange because you're supposed to get into the party and bear witness to the meetings just so you can know what's going on. Alpine Escape, the mission, like right after that, you're literally on a snowmobile fighting off people that are chasing you, and there's one part of that mission where you have to blow up a shed. You have to like basically shoot the barrels to blow up the shed and just kill everybody in there because there's like an armored snowmobile that's in there that you got to take out. But my favorite mission in the game is Countdown. It's the mission right before Equinox when you go into space. You're basically infiltrating this missile silo, trying to get aboard a shuttle so that you can make your way into space to stop the launch. And it is just the most intense. If you're playing on 00 Agent, you're going to die a lot because it's hard.
Yeah.
There's so many corridors and enemies to fight. Everything's got like this dark green aura that kind of makes you feel... It's intense. It's kind of like... I would relate Countdown to going through the Phazon Processing Center in Metroid Prime.
Totally.
Kind of like that dark... You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Dark, this long... winding area with waves of enemies that you just have to tear through. There's no other way.
And if it's your first time going through it, you're not going to expect all the enemies that are popping out and coming after your throat. So you're going to die.
If you open up one of the areas, and I did, with the decryptor, and you get the AIMS 20 in advance... You can rip through those enemies. The AIMS 20 is just insane.
The first time I played through the mission, though, I did not find the AIMS 20.
Oh, really? I did.
And so I struggled a little bit.
There's only one bond move in the level 2. The rest of it is just pure get good if you want to get that gold. And I did. I got the gold on 00 Agent, got the bond move, got the AIMS 20. And, of course, once you beat Rook for the final fucking time... you get his Phoenix Samurai, and that shit is insane.
Dude, Rook is like one of the most... Because every Bond villain has like this dedicated henchman that's going to try to fuck you up for the entire time. And I think Armitage Rook is top tier. Actual badass. You actually come face to face with him in the first mission, The Exchange, where he's like, "What you doing? What's up?" You pass him, and then at the end of the mission, he attacks you in a helicopter, and you take him out. And you think that he's dead, but really he just took some damage to the eye.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, dude. How many times do you face him in the game again?
At least 3. You face him that first time. He shows up one more time in the story, and then he shows up at the end. And that's where you finally kill him. I remember I was just firing grenades at the dude with the AIMS 20 grenade launcher mode. That's what I was doing. I was just spamming him with grenades to the face. And I'm telling you, that dude took like 5 or 6 grenades to the face.
It's because he's a champion, dude. Come on, you cut him some slack, man.
But you get his Phoenix Samurai, and that will carry you through the rest of the level. Use that plus the AIMS 20, you're golden. That level, it's still difficult, but at least you serve a chance.
Absolutely, dude. No, the AIMS 20 and the Samurai is a beastly combination, dude. And if you struggle with that at all, you just need to get good.
Yeah.
The Samurai is one of my favorite weapons in FPS history because it's just a big honking fucking laser rifle.
Yeah.
It is just fantastic.
And he takes it with him into the Equinox level. That's actually the only weapon you have for that level. I mean, because of course, what else do you have to do but go into fucking space?
Dude.
And that was after this badass sequence where, what's her face? The one that betrays you. Kiko drops you down, below the shuttle. You got to go into one of the rooms before the 20 or 30 seconds that you have, and then a wave of enemy comes after you. You do that a couple times, and then Bond pulls a reversal on her, and she gets blown apart by the shuttle thruster as he's taking off into space.
You know what? I'm okay with it, though. It's fine.
And then what else could you do but have the final level be in space? Man, I got to tell you, Equinox is a bitch. There is actually no way to get a gold on Agent. I tried. I did the level perfectly. I did perfect accuracy. I didn't lose any health. 100 accuracy, 100 health. I was headshotting most of the enemies. I did it under the time limit, and I still didn't get a gold. You gotta be on 00 Agent in order to get the gold. But man, I think that's finally where the game clicked for me. When I was having to just constantly, and like I said, save states carried me through this, but constantly having to reload in order to just get perfect shots, I finally actually got kind of good at the game.
Hey, bro. It sounds like you got excellent at the game if you're able to get gold on all of the 007. It's the platinums that are a bitch. And I did it as a kid, but I don't think I would be able to devote that kind of time now. I remember the first time I ever got a platinum rate, I like jumped up and down and sang for joy.
Yeah, because the only way to do it is to play the level perfectly, to get most or all of the bond moves and to get all of the bond tokens. That's the only way you can actually make enough of a score to get the platinum. And sometimes you run into issues where, the target... Yeah, I was actually looking at like the target criteria in order to get gold and platinum for some of these levels. And so like the target for a lot of levels will be 100 accuracy, but if you actually do one of the bond moves and like shoot one of the lanterns, it counts against your accuracy because it's not an enemy, I guess. So that was kind of annoying, but it's okay because I still got the rank that I was trying to get on that level by just playing near perfect the rest of the time. That was in Double Cross. That was the second like sandbox style level, the one in Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, there's a plot summary on the game that just kind of goes through everything that happens again in the game, and
yeah,
it's really cool how they kind of demonstrate that Raphael Drake is the president of Phoenix International, and Phoenix International's goal essentially is to rid the world of nuclear weapons and power plants to cleanse the environment, but it's in like a conspiracy to steal ballistic weapons and become a part of the United States space weapon platform. And it's really cool because that's when 007 starts investigating the Japanese branch, and he basically learns the intention behind it. And I love how this game takes you all the way into fucking outer space, bro. It's ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous that you get to go up into space and fight Drake, and once you beat him, after fighting off his armed astronauts, his dead body just kind of lifelessly floats into space. It's hilarious.
Oh man, shooting him and his goonies in space is a lot of fun because you'll hit him in the head with the Phoenix Samurai and then they just sort of float away.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, that was that's a really cool detail that they threw in there. I felt like it would have been weird for them to just kind of fall over. But for them to float away, could you imagine how long their bodies are just going to float in space forever?
Right?
It's terrifying to think about.
It is, isn't it?
Don't think about it.
Okay, I won't.
Sits there and like gets lost, just kind of in the sauce.
I gotta agree with you that Countdown is just a fantastic level, as well as Equinox. I really enjoyed the all the driving levels too. They have at least a couple of them where you're in the Vanquish and you're shooting missiles and using all of the different gadgets. They have one where you're in Island Infiltration. This level kicked my ass because you share a health pool throughout the 3 sections, and they're long. It's kind of like Countdown, and then it's the level immediately before Countdown, actually. So it is one of the longer ones in the game, and it's actually impossible to avoid damage. So it's really just about mitigating it. Man, that level kicked my ass.
This game does a really good job of kind of like slightly increasing the difficulty as you progress through and get used to the game. There's a mission. Let me see. If I remember correctly, it's like you're infiltrating a business at night. I think it's
Night Shift, and you go through the same area, the same building again in a couple levels later.
Is it Phoenix Fire or
Phoenix Fire?
No, yeah, Phoenix Fire. But like that Night Shift level is fantastic. It's so good.
It's another like stealth focus level, and you have a gun on you that will actually fire non-lethal darts, so you can take out the guards. But they will come back later.
Stealth missions in 007 games are where it's at. Like, I love stealth missions in spy thrillers. Like, that's the way to make a fantastic game. And
you even get to use the grapple into one of the vents, and you'll get a bond move for that. And you can use the decryptor to open the doors, or you can find the combinations in the level. You got to install a worm on 2 computers in the level, and you get a scorpion, which will come in handy because there's actually a bond move for firing the scorpion at the helicopter in the final bit of the level. while all those enemies are firing at you. It's not easy because if you use the guided missiles on the Sentinel, it'll actually fire it at the enemies, the Heat Seeker missiles. So you have to go unguided and just fire manually at the helicopter in order to do it. Let me tell you, it was a bitch to get that Bond move.
Well, hey, I mean, you did it. That's the thing.
I did it. Oh, I was talking about island infiltration earlier. So you start the level in an SUV, and you'll get a Bond move if you actually stealthily go in and download the codes versus, coming in guns blazing. But then after that, regardless of what you do, you'll get a chase sequence where you're taking down the Sentinels in the SUV. Then you get into a plane and you have to fly through. It's another like on the rail style, shooting at other planes and submarines or ships and the fucking Sentinels, all while you're getting fired upon. And then there's a final section where you're in a turret or something and you're firing at fucking tanks and planes. Then that's after you do a level in the Vanquish underwater, firing torpedoes.
Oh, dude, the Vanquish is so good in that game. They do such a good job with the Vanquish. And I think that the vehicular movement in the game is incredibly smooth. I think the way that you're able to interact with the environment, and they kind of do a really good job with that in the introductory mission, with how smooth it feels. And it's kind of a testament to how powerful the GameCube was for the time. Because it came out like at the beginning of the GameCube's life.
Yeah, this also came out on Xbox and PS2. I don't know how different those versions were, if there were any kind of graphical enhancements or whatnot, but I will say it looks pretty good for a 2002 game on GameCube and plays phenomenally. Absolutely.
Oh, dude, it feels like absolute butter.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of an accuracy adjustment, in order to get those shots, but it's 100% possible.
Oh, you just have to get good, brother.
You just have to get good. And thankfully, we live in an era where you could emulate this and have access to save states. So you don't have to start the entire section of the level over again every time. But back in the day, I imagine that must have been really fucking difficult.
100%.
But again, this game just begs this replayability. It begs you to do the absolute best. And there's a whole method to finding the best route, the best path through the level that's going to get you the most number of points. And even just paying attention to things. You go through that building in Tokyo 2 times, again, as we mentioned earlier. So there's a secret entrance that you'll find during the first time that you go through the level. So the second time that you're in the level and you're in the elevator, if you remember, you can jump out of the elevator and grapple up to take the secret entrance. So, the game encourages you to explore and find these opportunities in order to get, the best score as you're moving through these levels.
Absolutely. And it goes to show just how special this game is, because after 22 years, it still holds up as an amazing game to play. And instead of, sitting on our GameCubes at home playing it, we've emulated it on our big boy fancy computers. And it's still just as fun of a time. I had an absolute blast just playing multiplayer with you a couple of weeks ago, just goofing off and experiencing it. And I think once we get off, we're probably going to play some Tony Hawk or some Smash Bros. Or some more Nightfire, because nothing is as good as the old video game system, where it's not competitive multiplayer, it's not high stakes risk and reward, it's just good, clean fun. It's just a good time hanging out with friends. And I really appreciate the way that Nightfire was able to capture that while also being such a good spy thriller. And I think it also does a really good job of not being so incredibly difficult that it's not difficult to enjoy for some people. Like, take Elden Ring, for example. That game is amazing, but it's so fucking hard that it's difficult to really get invested in it if you're not absolutely dedicated, because it's so unforgiving. And older games really didn't have that effect. They were just fun and simple. And they could be complicated, like Ocarina of Time and the Water Temple, but you can't remove the fact that it's just really well done. And sure, there might be an element of nostalgia in there, But at the same time, you can go back and play. Like, I started playing Super Mario 64 for the first time ever yesterday. I had never played Super Mario 64.
Really?
And never. Not once. And my wife bought me a Backbone for Christmas last year, and I put Super Mario 64 on my phone, and I've been playing it. And it's a great time. It's just, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make just old classic video games up. And Nightfire does an excellent job of doing that. Even though it doesn't have the best graphics, it doesn't have the most advanced mechanics or controls, you can still go through it and enjoy it because it's well done. The story is really well told. And I'm sure we'll dive deeper into the story when we continue this on the next part. And I know we're not probably about to wrap it up. I'm not trying to wrap anything up. I'm just kind of going off on one of my famous tangents.
No, you're good, brother. You're good. We're sort of reaching that point here. Yeah, I gotta say, I don't have the nostalgic lens, so I can maybe compare this a little bit better to your thoughts on Mario 64 playing it now.
Yeah, dude.
But for me, I did grow up playing games in this era. This was my era of gaming, and it's also why I'm excited to do games like this on the podcast. So this was something that I just sort of missed. It passed me by. When I was a kid, I watched a couple of the James Bond movies, but I was never super into it. This was a treasure. I was able to play this, and it definitely, I still got that nostalgic feeling for it in the sense of I remember playing games that were like this, with this level of graphical quality and whatnot. But I do feel like this is one of the older games that, despite obviously, being dated, still manages to have accurate as hell, control handling, and you just really have to get good at it. It's kind of similar to, like some of like the early Metroid games in that sense, that there was, do you know what I mean? Like, it's an older game and you can tell that it's an older game, but it is really good. It is, it is, you still, like, the controls take some adjustment to get used to, but you can get good at them. So you can't blame the game for being dated when you're not good at it.
It's like the original Metroid Prime, dude. That game will probably be an absolute banger of a game for the rest of my life. As long as you and I are both alive, I will always go back at least once a year and play through Metroid Prime once, because it's just
that game is kind of unique, though, in that it doesn't actually feel dated at all, no matter how often you play it. Like, the graphics and everything just looks so good.
Well, the next one I was going to say is Super Metroid.
Super Metroid is what I had in mind when I was talking about earlier Metroid games. Yeah, even though it's not a shooter, but you know what I mean, right? It's like the controls were floaty but you could get accustomed to them and you could get good at it.
Oh yeah. For those of you listening or watching, I'm currently eating seaweed snacks, and that's why Ash just saw me shove a green square into my mouth.
Yeah, it was sexy.
So, sorry about. Ooh, I'll do it again. Hang on. Nothing quite like some seaweed to get the motor running.
That's right, brother. But yeah, we'll talk more about Nightfire in terms of the story and the characters in part 2 of our review, which we should be recording tomorrow as of the time of recording this. We should have both of these out pretty soon after this. I want to wrap up this season and get going on the next season, because we've been planning it. We've got the whole season planned out now, and I'm really happy with it. We've already got a few guests signed on. It's going to be a good time, brother.
Yes, it is. And to be honest, it's only up from here. On October 25th, the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Ash is actually coming out here to where I'm at in South Georgia. And we're going to hang out, play some Echoes of Wisdom, spend some time with my wife. We're going to goof off, play with the dog. But we're also going to live stream and play some Call of Duty Black Ops 6 together. He's going to bring his PlayStation 5, and I built a nice, shiny new PC for recording and content creation. And I am going to launch my own personal platform, which will coincide with Collateral Gaming. And I'm really excited to get started with that. And I'll add some more details with that as we progress through the week and record some more episodes, because I don't want to plug too much right now. But I'm really excited to get that going. And Ash, I'm really excited to have you out here. But for now, I think that'll about do it,
Yeah, so stay tuned for part 2 of this review. Sometime around then, we may also actually get an episode out, a game launch review on Wukong. I think we should do Black Myth Wukong.
Oh, for sure.
We're still within, I think, the first month of release. So if we get that out this week or whatever, that would actually be pretty cool. I'd like to do a bonus round with you soon. We've talked about that, so stay tuned. We'd like to do a bonus round by the end of the season. And then, if all goes according to plan and we can get on it, we should be releasing our season premiere this month, where we're going to cover Doom 1993 and Doom 2016 in 2 parts. And also, there should be a game launch review on Ace Attorney Investigations this month as well. Bo and I will be recording that. The Ace Attorney Investigations collection, I should say. That's the brand new collection of the 2 Miles Edgeworth-centered spin-off games, and I've actually been having a blast. Ace Attorney Investigations is one of the only Ace Attorney games that I haven't actually beat before, and it'll be my very first time actually playing Ace Attorney Investigations 2. I played a little bit of it in the demo, and I've been playing through the first game again, and yeah, it's great that we finally have Ace Attorney Investigations 2 here in the West. It's the very first time that game has been localized. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about it. And then, like you said, Zach, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is coming out at the end of this month. Or, sorry, in the next month. So October is going to be our spooky month. We do have we have a game lined up for that and a Halloween special, but we are going to be doing Black Ops 6 as well, and Echoes of Wisdom. That's the game I was thinking. That's the game that's coming out at the end of this month that we should be covering in early October. So
that is going to be an absolutely fantastic time. Why don't we just cover it while you're here, Ash?
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Or does it need to be a little earlier?
I'd like to get it as early as possible. The idea with the game launch reviews is ideally getting them out, a week or 2 after the game comes out.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I'll be gone during the first week the first weekend of launch with Echoes of Wisdom. I actually won't get to play it till the 29th, sadly. But that's okay. It's fine. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, we'll be doing a like our spoiler-free first impressions type review. In November, we've got another game launch episode coming out, which we're going to do a 2-part review, like we've done with a few other games on this show, where we do the game launch spoiler-free review part 1, and then the full release, with spoilers part 2. That'll be on Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, I forgot about that game. Let's go, dude.
I know
it looks
so many good games coming out this season. Like, man.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure. But we get Metroid Prime 4 next year. Next year, bro. Oh gosh.
So Astrobot just came out too, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. I think we very well may include that. Actually, we have to include that in our year in review episode later. But there's just too much shit coming out to cover everything. Like,
I know, it's like bad diarrhea, dude.
I know. This is a similar situation to an issue that we had last year. 2023 had so many fucking games coming out, and 2024, I wasn't sure at the beginning of the year that it was going to be like this. But yeah, after we got that first Nintendo event and various other announcements, I was like, oh yeah, no, this year's going to be packed too.
I'll be honest, man. This is a good problem to have. I'd rather have too many games coming out than not enough.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is, as soon as Echoes of Wisdom comes out, that starts the holy crap train. I'm going to be playing the crap out of Echoes of Wisdom with Danielle.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, Black Ops 6 is going to come out. I'm going to be playing Black Ops 6 for a week. And then we get Mario and Luigi. And I'm just like, dude, stop! So many games. But it's going to be a great time. Also, if you have Xbox Game Pass, Black Ops 6 is going to be free to play for you. So hop on that. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, man, look at it from my perspective, because I've been playing this game. I've been playing Ace Attorney Investigations. I was playing Call of Duty beta, and I will be playing it once it comes out. All of the games you mentioned, I'll be covering, and everything else that we're doing on this show. So it's a lot to keep up with. there's no surprise that there's going to be some more games that are going to go on the end of the year review, like Star Wars Outlaws. I bought it. It's not great. It's okay. It's very much a product of Ubisoft. But we'll talk about it in the year in review episode, I'm sure, because I went ahead and got it.
So it's gonna be great, man. We're gonna have a great time, and we'll be back tomorrow with part 2. And we're just gonna keep chugging out content, dude. This is gonna be a week for content, and then we'll just keep the ball rolling from there.
Let's do it, brother. I'm so down.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good.
All right. Well, stay tuned for part 2. Until then, I've been Ashley Chancellor, codename 0069.
I've been Zachary Yeo, codename 00 Noggin.
This is Collateral Gaming, and we'll see you in part 2.
Adios, brothers. And sisters. We don't discriminate.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.